puzzle, U.S. government just officially lists silver as a critical mineral. Shh, don't tell, do it quietly, don't freak everyone out, but this is a battle of gaining supremacy on the commodities of the world. It's China is doing this as well. They're flying to Mexico and Peru in particular and buying doré and concentrate directly from the miners. There is a game of chess going on right now that people really aren't seeing, and that game of chess is who can secure all of the world's commodities.
Silver isn't just a metal anymore. It's a battleground. Industries need it. Investors are hoarding it. Nations are declaring it critical. And Andy Schectman just revealed why silver might soon become an heirloom asset. Passed down, not traded. If you've ignored silver till now, this is your wake-up call.
There's revaluing gold. Yes, there is a clause in there about revaluing gold.
Revaluing gold.
Yes.
Okay.
Revaluing
gold, meaning at a much higher rate than
either marking it to market because it's on the U.S. government balance sheet at $42.22 an ounce.
Okay.
Either remarking it to market, or as others say, Mike Maloney says 10,000. He uses M1. Rickards has a different metric, says 24,000. Right. Who knows where it goes to? But that is the theory. Yeah, Tether was at the their corporate entity was, their representatives was at the Beaver Creek Mining Summit in a month or two ago, which is one of the biggest in the United States.
Yep.
So they're going there to disintermediate the marketplace and go directly to the mining companies, and whether it be securing future production or buying up interest in the mines themselves or whatever. It's no coincidence that you see them there. At the same time, their numbers come out and show they have between 12 and 13 billion worth of gold in Swiss vaults right now. They're a big buyer.
I mean, so that makes total sense to me, just from an investing standpoint. I just don't understand why.
Just through the first few days of the month, there were 3,029 contracts delivered of silver times 5,000 ounces. That's over 15 million ounces of silver delivered. That's a torrid amount. But this is not even a primary silver delivery month, and it shows huge volume in a non-delivery month. Mm-hmm. But who's to say that Tesla or Samsung or Sony haven't been behind some of the massive deliveries we've seen to COMEX? Because not all the silver's leaving. It could just sit there in a vault until they need it, but it's no longer available. It's in a not the registered account. It's set aside safely, and who's to say they're not there? But to your point, what's very interesting is, as Sean Kuhn, the CEO of Dolly Varden, has told me that, as I probably mentioned on your show before, that China is doing this as well. They're flying to Mexico and Peru in particular and buying doré and concentrate directly from the miners. Mm-hmm. To disintermediate the marketplace. So there's a lot going on under the scenes that, under the scenes that we don't know who's doing it. But the fact that you're seeing all of these deliveries, I would argue, to your point, that there probably is a lot of the industrials. Now, it's interesting, real quick, you bring up one very interesting point, and that is this. Here's the stage that is set for a massive battle. You have the industrials, Tesla, Samsung, whatever, Sony. You have the hedge funds. Oh, they smell blood in the water. Mm-hmm. And now the third and fourth piece to that puzzle, U.S. government just officially lists silver as a critical mineral. And China is now limiting exports moving forward. There is a battle going on, not only to drain the world's exchanges slow enough as to not cut off your nose to spite your face so everything blows up. And now you have governments acknowledging that this is more about policy now, not just national security and policy on top of the battle between the industrials and the investors. It's setting the stage. And when you realize just how small of a market cap silver has, I don't tell people to buy silver to get wealthy, but it has enormous upside if you realize that you start throwing government money into this and putting a floor under it and limiting exports. Yeah, the potential for silver is quite enticing. I mean, you could argue it's parabolic. It's the United States Geological Survey Commission. It's part of the government. They're also the ones that came out a year ago, maybe, and said that they could see silver being the first element struck from the periodic table of elements. They publicly said that. But yes,
because we're running out of it.
Yes, because it's found in nature in a form called epithermal, like your skin is epidermis.
Hmm.
The big deposits were found very, very long ago. I was listening to an interview that Keith Neumeyer was giving the other day, and he was saying a lot of the primary silver companies are actually moving more towards being gold mining companies
Right.
because it's so difficult. Of the 850 million ounces mined last year of pure silver, there was only roughly 20% of that 170 million or so that came from companies mining silver. It's so hard to find the deposits because they're right near the surface. The big deposits were found forever ago. So First Majestic, I believe, is the purest of all the silver companies in terms of their just being a silver company. It represents 50% of what they do, but
Right.
it's becoming really hard to find, is the bottom line, the big deposits that have already been exploited. So most of what comes to market is byproduct mining of other minerals, and they stumble across it. Yeah, most of our silver comes from Mexico, Peru, and Canada. And it's interesting, I mentioned Mexico and Peru. The Chinese are going right to those miners and saying, we'll pay double what the West will. We want your doré, which are the crudely refined bars. We want your concentrate, which is the byproduct mining sludge.
Right.
And we'll pay double. We'll send it back and refine it ourselves. Now, this is coming from the second largest producer of silver on the planet. David Morgan will tell you when he went there to tour the mines, China told him we're number one, we're not number two. Whatever they are, they're massive producers of it, and they're flying all around the world to buy stuff and refine it themselves when we almost entirely need silver. When we need silver, it's almost entirely coming from other countries. We are reliant upon it on other countries, and that is a fragile supply chain. It's not a good thing. At the same time, you got China building deep water seaports in Peru and trying to build their infrastructure. I mean, there is a game of chess going on right now that people really aren't seeing, and that game of chess is who can secure all of the world's commodities. Shh, don't tell, do it quietly, don't freak everyone out, but this is a battle of gaining supremacy on the commodities of the world. It's shifting from paper promises by the West into who's got the goods around the globe. They do export, but they are now limiting exports as of, I don't know, within the next month or two. Any silver that leaves the country has to apply for a permit with the government. And they were big exporters. They're not going to export quite the same way because I think it's in response to the moves that the U.S. is making. It's in response to the realization that, they have a real advantage in having the supplies that they do. And why make it any easier for the U.S. when we're doing the things that we are doing in terms of tariffs and in terms of, trade restrictions and sword rattling, saber rattling. I just think that they're smart to do that. And I think it will be a growing trend, but they just did publicly announce that they are going to limit drastically. And they have also characterized it as a matter of national security as well. This is going to be a trend that you will see, a nationalistic trend, I think, as time goes on, as the prices go higher. Yeah, let me just read you this one paragraph. China,
Sure.
the world's largest silver refiner, is restricting exports and has announced that starting in 2026, all silver exports will require individual government licenses, effectively giving Beijing full control over every ounce leaving the country. This move classifies silver as a resource of national interest, signaling a strategic shift towards state-managed supply. And then at the same time, you got the U.S. adding it to the critical mineral list. This is no coincidence, and it's a battle for the world's supplies of things that are critical to infrastructure, critical to military, critical to a world that is digital. It is, you need silver to transmit electricity across, long distances. You need silver, and I think that's becoming. I think that's, for semiconductors and electric vehicles and defense and solar panels and on and on. I think that's becoming clear. Payable to the bearer on demand in silver coin. Same thing it says for the gold certificates. It ended in 30. I think the last one they made might have been in 30. Oh, gosh. Well, obviously it would have been after gold was confiscated, maybe 28, 29, or before gold was confiscated. I'm not sure the year, but I have a bunch of them in frames, and they all say payable to the bearer on demand in gold coin instead of in God we trust. There was, and again, you want to get into conspiracy theories, there are a lot of people who think that had something to do with President Kennedy, because he wanted to take the power of money creation away from the Federal Reserve, give it back to the Treasury, and issue silver certificates. So it would have been sometime right around